Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. Okay, trying to do some mic testing here. Okay, 1, 2, test the mic. Is it okay? Is better? Or a little bit? Is it much better? Okay. Well, good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. I'd like to welcome you to another edition of our regular Friday's press briefings here at the Executive Mansion. And to those of you who are listening via online platforms, to those in the at the community radio stations, those in the counties, those listening via radio, would like to welcome you to yet another edition of the weekly press briefings here at the Executive Mansion. It has been a wonderful time, and today is November 1st. Let me again say November 1st, a good, happy new month to all of you here at the Executive Mansion Press Corps, members of the Executive Mansion Press Corps. I see that a lot of you have come today. I hope you got some good news for us. But again, I'd like to give you updates as to the happenings here at the Executive Mansion. This week have also been a busy week for His Excellency. Over the weekend, President Boakai traveled to Bomi County, where he was able to engage some community members, as well as he was able to pay a visit to the Bomi County Community College. And those meetings were very, very paramount to some issues relating to the college. And that visit, the president did hold a meeting with the administration and members of the school there, and also with some students. And those meetings, some of the meetings, including with the community, all talked about the need to improve the educational system in that part of the country. Also, during the course of the week, the president did launch the very, very important part of the president's action. If you can recall, when the president held his cabinet retreat, the first cabinet retreat at the ministerial complex, he did announce the formulation of the performance management and compliance system that was supposed to be put in place. And on Wednesday, he launched that management system, of which he takes it very seriously, to institute a lot of community engagement, but also so that a system is created where the communities and what the project that has been undertaken by the government, there is a centralized system. And on the other hand, that members of the government, members of the executive, presidential appointees can be held accountable to what they have said they will do as per their agreement that they have signed or they will sign with His Excellency. Also, I'd like to announce, as you can recall, a while ago, His Excellency did dissolve the leadership and membership of the War and Economics Crime Court, particularly the office. And I'm here this afternoon to announce to all of you that after rigorous review process, after the committee that was set up by His Excellency, there were recommendations made. There was a revision of different means and recommendation. Interviews were held, and the committee have reported to His Excellency. Out of the committee's report, I'm pleased to announce to the Liberian people that Dr. Jala A. Babu has been appointed as the new executive director of the Office of War and Economics Crime Court. And Dr. Babu comes to the office with many years of legal knowledge and experience as a former head of the Law Reform Commission, as well as the current dean of the Louis Arthur Grimes School of Law. It is the hope of His Excellency that Dr. Babu Jala will bring the years of experiences within the legal sector and to run the office as executive director, to bring in all the expertise and needs of that office so that the executive order that was signed by His Excellency and all the issues within the executive order and the terms of reference specifically for the office that has been active, that Dr. Babu and his team will be able to move ahead with the workings of His Excellency, especially when it comes to the office of the War and Economics Crime Court. I will pause here today and take a few of your questions in relations to what you have and what's happening. Thank you all so very much, and I look forward to taking your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Press Secretary. My name is Joseph Daniels, and I report for OKFM. My first question would like to deal with the appointment of Councillor Jala Babu. Following his appointment, what will we see in the coming days? Will he go for confirmation, or does it take immediate effect? And there has been this issue with the legislature, specifically the House of Representatives, where there are two different sessions ongoing there. And the president wrote a letter to the House, to the Liberian Senate. The president wrote a letter to the Liberian Senate asking for extension for the drafting of the national budget for 2025. Did the president also write the House of Representatives? Can you tell us whether it was the block of the speaker or the other side, calling yourself majority block? Thank you very much.
Well, my name is Murray Fatoma, and I report for TFAT and that of the Liberian News Bulletin as well. Well, Madam PBS, I have a concern, and my concern is about the recent resignation of the former Commerce Minister, Amin Modar, and there were public outcry about mismanagement of funds, and in that process, he did resign. Is the president concerned? If so, what is the latest information from the president office in relation to that issue? And two, there were some issues raised about the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs about mismanagement of some funds again. Is the president concerned for investigation on the two appointee arrests?
Sorry, you said on the two. I didn't hear the end part of your question. Did you say that on the two appointees? Which two appointees are you talking about?
The former Commerce Minister and that of the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So the question to Joseph's question on what next with Dr. Jala Babu, the expectation is that so for this appointment, it doesn't go through confirmation hearing with the Liberian Senate. It's an immediate appointment. And the expectation is that Dr. Babu will take over the office and continue the work from as far as from whence the last team stopped. So the expectation is that Councillor Babu will continue and work around ensuring that he implements the executive order. On the question of the extension, the letter that was written, yes, His Excellency did write the legislature through the to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Speaker Fonanti Kofa, and there was only one letter. I mean, there was one letter to the legislature, and that was to Speaker Kofa. But also, normally, when those letters are written, copies are sent, or the Vice President is also written. So this letter was also written to the Vice President as well as the pro tempore of the Liberian Senate. So there was no other letter written to any bloc or any individual. And actually, the President did not write the Speaker as a bloc. Because the question was like whether it's a bloc that he wrote. No, he wrote the National Legislature and told the Speaker. Right now, the Speaker is the Speaker of the Legislature. So communications from the Presidency goes to the Speaker, especially the ones that's for the National Legislature, specifically the House of Representatives and the Speaker office. On the question of the Commerce Minister, whether the president is concerned. The former commerce minister did resign, and I mean the vehicle in question that brought out all of the outcries was requested to be turned over to the General Services Agency, the GSA, and that vehicle is in use for GET services because that was what the president has said in the communication. And then we did communicate to the public as to the acceptance of the resignation and that the vehicle be turned over. And that process have happened. So yes, the president have clearly stated his views on officials of government spending, beyond what is anticipated or what is expected of them. On allegation of corruption with, you mentioned Mr. Grace Bay. The thing with Liberia, everybody will say, oh, this person did this and this person did that. Of course, there have been a number of allegations of people everybody say this person is that. But until there's any concrete information as at yet, the president have not received any complaint against the Minister of State and any issue relating to corruption or what have happened. People will speak in the media, people will speculate, people will say things, but as a government, the president doesn't run the government on speculation. Until you see specific and actions are taken, then you will know the workings of the president. But specifically also, as you know, just last evening, because there were allegations of corruption at the Liberia Refugee Repatriation Commission, the LRRC, and reports were sent to the president, and the president asked the LSCC to launch an investigation. Upon a preliminary update, the president took an action by suspending the leadership of the LRRC and asking LSCC, and I've asked LSCC to do a full-fledged investigation and ask the leadership to turn over all assets and properties of the institution to the highest ranking officer, particularly the HR who's going to be in charge until further actions are taken. So yes, once there are specifics and concrete information as to any act of corruption or any act whatsoever, you'll see the president taking specific actions towards those, but not on just based upon speculations without any concrete, information. Yes. Yes, Jurassic.
Yes, thank you for the recognition. I'm Jurassic Joe and I report for Spawn. My question, in line with the LRRC. So for how long would the investigation go for? And secondly, there are several investigations that the president asked for his team to carry on, but we have not gotten any information on that in relation to LDA or the investigation in relating to the directors. That investigation, we have not gotten any information yet about on who was responsible or who took the blame or who was mismanaging fund or whatever at LDA up to the time the president appointed another director. So what's going on?
Another concern, Madam PBS, recently, few days ago, the president were able to sign the PMCS law that talk about the property management and the law. And the president was specific to talk about his administration is clear to the point that he will not tolerate corruption as well. And now the public want to understand from your office and that of the president's office, are they penalty line for those who could be violators in terms of not abiding with the law just being signed by the president?
Yeah, Madam PPS, I think I want to make a follow-up to Daniel's question, especially when it comes to more economic crime. How soon do we expect the new team to start, because they being a low partner and the world and economic crime have not been able to function? So how soon the public is expected to see them working?
Thank you. Any further question?
Yes,
Yeah.
you say what from Nigeria, Reverend Hapepe. Thank you for your fabulous displays of knowledge. My question is, you made mention of the person tried upon me during the weekend. The weekend, the person traveled upon me counted. I would like to know why was the media was not invited. Number two, we were told, they were announced by information minister that the president will soon start county tour. And today is the first day of November. When will county tour begin?
You won't go cut it twice.
So, yes, my name is Pastor Carlo. I work for the Liberia Broadcasting System. So I have like plenty of concerns, but let me just summarize them. The National Rights Committee was set up a few months ago by the president. Can you give us maybe some developments from that committee? And also the Asset Recovery Task Force that was set up. We want to know how far are, their workings. And is the president also concerned about the road accidents and, unregulated trucks just on the road and leaving to the deaths of so many innocent Liberians? So is the president really concerned about, enforcing roads regulations and guidelines? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joseph Daniels again from OKFM. I would like to know the president's position on the issue of the code of conduct, which talks about officials occupying position within the government and also holding position within their parties, because the president made mention of that during one of his cabinet meetings where he talked about the law and he spoke about it being, he don't know whether it is existing or not, but he wanted the officials to look at it and see whether they could make decision on that. So can you tell us the president's position on the code of conduct as it relates to officials occupying positions within their parties as well? And finally, a lot of people are on the performance management system that was launched. How will it run? Who will do the monitoring? Will it be directly under the office of the president? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I report for the Kukatona News. Recently, the president came from the president came from Italy with a plan of making things that this agricultural sectors works. So my question is, how do the president plan to leverage the discussion from the World Food Forum to address the food security challenges in Liberia, particularly within the framework of his arrest agenda? That's my question.
That's a brilliant question. Do we have any more? Don't we? Good. Okay, I'll start from the last part, and it's good that you, having some recollection of the president's engagement in Italy and his role, how he intends to work along with the conversation and specifically through his arrest agenda. As you know, the Ministry of Agriculture is the president's lead agency for agriculture and food security. And at that meeting, the president went along with the Minister of Agriculture. And the goal here is that the head of the agency will come back now and see, for example, some of the engagement. I'm sure you can recall there was a $50 million investment engagement that began, the discussion started, where the president interest in seeing how that resources can help in the rice production sector and adding value to the rice production chain. As you know, in the production within our context, majority of the rice we eat the rice that are imported. And the ones that are locally grown, I mean, not many people, I mean, can eat the country rice, as people call it, and people eat it. Some people eat it as a luxury. So part of that meeting was to see how resources of that sort can help develop the local sector, support local farmers in adding values to the rice production. I'm from Grand Cape Mount County, for example. In Western Liberia, people grow rice as one of our staple, as well as cassava. So support to that sector adds value so that people lead from subsistent farming to a more long-term farming, that we are able to be self-sufficient when it comes to rice, so that we won't be importing a lot of rice. We can grow what we eat and eat what we grow. So the Ministry of Agriculture is in charge of that project, and to see how that, can be well developed, and the Liberian people can be, can feel a portion, or can really feel the impact of their vestige, particularly the agricultural pillar. So on the question of the road accident and in terms of enforcement, so I will connect your question to his, especially in terms of the responsibility of enforcement. In Liberia, there are times, a lot of things people think, oh, the president should do this. But the frameworks are in place. There are laws on the book for what a driver can and cannot do, and what pedestrians should or should not do. So our hope is that the agencies that are responsible for law enforcement can really work with community institutions. In fact, people like your agency, the LBS, can help with education and awareness. Because with the issue of road safety, there are many times there are challenges, as you all recall. There was one time that the accident that happened with the convoy along the ELWA road. People just, when convoys are moving along, you have motorcyclists and tricyclists just along the road. Even just the other day, when we're going to Marsha, there were a motorcycle guy who just jumped in the convoy and started moving. The police had to run him off the road, So the awareness and in showing that people understand road safety, wearing of helmets. You go to neighboring countries, for example, the other day, we had gone to Togo, right here, Togo, and you didn't see police along the way trying to implement wearing helmet. Everyone wore helmets on their motorbikes, even the passengers, the motorcycle riders, they were all in helmets. And it was, for us, it was a surprise. You didn't see even any police with ratans and trying to enforce helmet wearing. Even you said things like wearing seatbelts. Sometimes you get in taxi, you're telling a passenger to wear seatbelt. Oh yeah, are you there? So and so. So we all have to get to a point where we practice road safety in terms of reduction of accident, and also the drivers, people who are on excessive speed sometimes, on the highway. When you're a passenger in a vehicle and your driver is on excessive speed, it's just good that all of you will tell them, please slow down. And then where there are challenges on the road, police need to be vigilant. The police, especially the traffic police, where a truck is broken down, is parked on the road for days, for months. The president will not go all over the country at once to see these things and call the police. So the expectation is that those agencies who are in charge of enforcement, Ministry of Transport, the Liberian National Police, and other law enforcement agencies should really implement these laws that are already on the book and hold everyone and anyone responsible for those issues when it comes to those things that are creating the high number of road accidents. On your question of the assets recovery task force, as you all can recall, currently the matter is still at the courts. Since the team was taken to court, the matter is still there. And once the court puts the stay order on a matter, the expectation is that the ruling or the views of the court is respected. And that is where the assets recovery team is at the moment. However, the thoughts and the reason for which the team was formulated, it still has not changed. We hope that the court can rule, and then the committee can continue from whence they stopped. On the question of the Rice Committee, the Rice Committee is really active. They're working along with the Ministry of Agriculture, as you heard me talk earlier on about the program in terms of the long-term and rice component. Yes, they're working with the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the members, the business community, and those who were involved or on that to make that happen. So yes, the team is working. That's why you've not heard any abrupt increment just yet or any increment. So they're all working very hard to ensure that there's stabilization of the price, but more so the availability and the reduction. So once there are new actions, new involvement, new information, will definitely inform the public as to what's happening. But I can say the team is still working, and their works. I mean, not all the time people work. You all in the media, one minute you do, but at least when there are major achievements and major changes, then we can be able to announce it to you all. On the question of why the media wasn't invited in Bomi. So Bomi wasn't a major, media engagement activity for His Excellency. So our team was there. And then the other thing about it also sometimes is good to also encourage the local media institutions who are in the counties to as well be a part of the president's initiative and activities. I was in Bombing, so just know it's not only the media alone. I was in there as well. On the question of when the county tour is starting, once the schedule is finalized, and because it's going to be during the dry season, we're still in the wet yet. It's not yet concluded 100%. We're still experiencing rains here and there. But once the team completes the schedule of the county meet and the schedule is reviewed and accepted, I'll be letting you all to know that, the county meet will happen this day, this time, and the first county to visit will be so-and-so. And those media institutions who will be invited, hopefully, Ojuku, you can be part of maybe the first batch of people who will go to your county. Apparently, you've not gone home for a while, so you're looking forward to this engagement, so you can be home. I think there was a question on the performance management. Well, there wasn't a law that was signed. It was actually the program that was launched. I think he was asking whether the law was signed, and how is it going to run? I think someone asked, how is the performance management system going to run? So the entire process is under the office of the Director General of the Cabinet, and the Director General will be working along with the heads of agencies to implement the performance management system. So the performance will be in all folds, like I mentioned earlier, where issues relating to achievements. So there is going to be a central point where, different programs and projects and achievements that have happened in the counties, where you can come and get centralized information. But even on the personnel aspect, the achievement of the heads of agencies, if the agency says we're going to do XYZ by the timeline of XYZ, the team will hold that and then review as the time comes and say, yes, you agree, you sign up that you're going to fix XYZ number of roles. And by this time, and this is the time where and within that, we're able to galvanize those information and share with the public as to what have been done so far. I think there was issue of the code of conduct and the president's views on public officials who are still holding public office. The president has said it a number of times that people who are holding political party offices should decide whether they want to be in government or they want to hold their political party statuses. So, but what I do know that have happened so far, I know there is a conference. I think the political parties did take the matter to the court, and now they're supposed to have a conference on this coming week, I'm told, about that, because some members of the political parties who feel aggrieved that this issue is unfair to them. They've gone to court, and when the court decides there's going to be a conference, after the conference, they'll know the next course of action. But as at yet, the president is very clear, because you are asking about the views of the president. The president is very clear. If the code of conduct says that you can't hold political office at the same time holding official position. That should be implemented. So I know the office of the ombudsman was also invited, was taken to the court and then was invited to the conference. We hope that by the coming weeks, we will have some update as to what has happened. But on the president's view, it's very clear that you cannot hold a party position at the same time holding an official duty within the government. I think I have, there was a question on the War Crimes Code. How soon will it begin to work? Again, as you know, this has been a process. The War Crimes Court document, the executive order was signed. After the signing of the executive order, there was a leadership put in place. The leadership started working, and then there was a question of interest, and people had issues that they needed it to be a broad-based election process. The president, as a president who do listen to his people, listen and then dissolve that team. And now there was a process that was very consultative, that was broad, that people were recommended and people were interviewed. And then the final decisions, maybe it came down to the top three and the review again, and then the president made his decision. So that process was, so it's not a quick fix thing. It's not just a rushy just to avoid issues of the previous issue that came up. So because this was consultative, we're hoping now that this new executive director have been appointed, that the public, the human rights community, that the people directly impacted and people with high interest in this issue will work with Councillor Jala Babu and his team to really ensure that the executive order is implemented to its fullest. I think so far we have covered everything that you asked, and I hope if there are any other questions. Yes, I saw someone who didn't ask, and then you follow up.
So my concern is about the disadvantaged youths that are out there in the street, and it has been the president's concern from the beginning of his government that he will get them out of the street. How far are we of this?
Well, so for that, the president have done a number of things. Firstly, because with you mean when you say disadvantaged youth, you mean the at-risk youth or the Zogos, right? So there have been a number of different things that have happened. As you know, earlier on, the president was part of the graduation of a group that went through the Ministry of Youth and Sports program with other partners. And recently, the president launched the Street Child program with the Ministry of Gender, Children's and Social Protection. And that program will not only be for girls, it also includes, at-risk youth, especially the kids who are in the streets, who are product of those population you're talking about. And the president also did hold a meeting with youth groups earlier on during the course of the July 26th celebration. And in that meeting, there were a number of different recommendations that came up. And the president has also, is also forming his task force, the Youth Advisory Council. And that Advisory Council, again, will help the president in channeling some of these issues to the proper institution, along with the Ministry of Youth and Sports and other partners. But yes, it's a project, it's a prospect that's happening along with the Ministry of Youth and Sports and other partners. And he's not forgetting the at-risk youth. He's very concerned about them. Every day he talks about things that needs to happen for this particular population. Oh, there was one question on LDEA. The outcome. Yes, the outcome of the investigation. I mean, the LDEA, of course, as you know, the president, after the report was submitted, I did inform all of you, and then the president took action. So there was actually not a question of mismanagement of funds, because I heard that part of the question. The issue of LDA wasn't about mismanagement of funds, but it was some tussle with the leadership there, accusation, counter accusation of assaults and, hating of one another. So the president team reviewed, everything. And so at this point, there was an appointment of an acting head of the institution. Prior to, there was a officer in charge that was holding on, and the work continued with Mr. Peters. And Mr. Peters did resign. The president thanked him for his work that he did over the course of the time he was there. It's very hard work, and in doing some things and saving the government of a lot of resources and confiscating some very, very, very bad substances as well. So he thanked his team, and now he have also appointed head of the agency as acting until further action is taken. So yes, these actions have been taken with the LDEA. So I thought to add that as you asked. Yes.
Okay, so my follow-up is to the issue of the code of conduct. You said the president hold the view that people holding position in government should not also be holding position in their parties. Why has he failed to take action if he strongly, those people are working at his will and pleasure? If they are violating the law, why is the president failing to take action? And secondly, the letter to the president was launched before. We're receiving reports that people have written, but they have not gotten any redress.
Say that again?
Letter to the president. I think you'll talk about our initiative where people can write to the president and get a response in real time. We hear a report that people are writing but not getting response. So can you confirm
So I will start with the last part, and let me just your question on the code of conduct, just to show that. So on the issue of the letters to the president, the team had a little technical issue with the email that was set up. There was some, there's been this recent wave of internet failures, and the server system that we were using had some issue. Even there was some point in time our website was down, so it impacted that particular system. So our IT team really working on it to strengthen that, because we've not been able to access, those communication. But I've talked to the president about this, and he thought that, he would really love to hear what the people are saying. And normally what we do, especially on the views of the people, normally when we do our regular press information to the president, where we see what the media, what all of you are saying, what the newspapers are writing, we do our regular updates. And in that, we also put some issues, trending issues, or, views of the people. So sometimes some of the publication that we do, or even when we publish anything, the views of the people, we are able to, synchronize them and give him so he gets to read the views of the people. So even though we've not clearly, fixed the email situation yet, but he's still receiving, views of what the people are saying and what the people are thinking about his actions and some of his work. So those who continuously comment on different work, different publications that we put out, different news stories and articles, please continue bringing those in, because we do print them out, and give it to the president so he hears what you're saying. And we're going to fix the email part, because my IT team have showed us that they will work on it. And once it's clear, we'll also be making it clearer to you all. On the question of the code of conduct, why the president hasn't taken action, I've told you, ask about the views of the president, and I told you what his views are on that. And I've also said that because that's why he appointed the Office of the Ombudsman. And the Office of the Ombudsman is really working towards it. And interestingly, like I said, that the people felt aggrieved that they're poorly treated, especially when it comes to the issue of the code of conduct and serving in office at the same time in political parties. So they've taken the matter to court. And as you know, the separate branches of government, once the court, decide, the court have said, we're going to invite you to a conference and let's hear what the issues are, and then let's see how far this can go. So, let's see what the court's going to say and how that's going to pan out. So until then, I can tell you that the president is clear on it. We've told him a number of times, and he doesn't mind. He's going to take action where necessary. But for now, they've taken the matter to court, and let's give the court the opportunity, to come to a final conclusion on the matter. So thank you all so very much. And I'm happy that all of you are here today, and we look forward to engaging with you further. Most interestingly, those of you who will be going to the county tour, once that happens, we'll be letting all of you know. Thank you all and have a wonderful Friday afternoon. Bye-bye from us.
Okay, thank you for following. So that's the voice of the Presidential Press Secretary, Kola Fofana, addressing some concerns and giving updates of work at the Executive Mansion. And this holds every Friday at 2:30 right here in the parlor of the Executive Mansion. Thank you for following. Keep following us. My name is Vanias Kamara, and the team from the Executive Mansion have been here. Thank you, and stay blessed.